Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the first ever MidSouth Wrestling Mayhem podcast. I am your host, Peter Van. We're going to discuss lots of things. Let me just get into what this is going to be. This is not exactly like a social experiment kind of podcast about wrestling all over the nation. No, this is a look, an in-depth look and review, I guess you could say, of events around the Mid-South as far as professional wrestling goes. What gave me the idea and the premise of this? Well, let's just cut to the chase. Mid-South Wrestling as a whole doesn't get a lot of coverage, and there is tons of talent that comes out of this area, and tons of legends too as well. So I have a successful podcast myself already, the Peter Van Show. Catch it iTunes, Podbeans, iHeartRadio, blah blah blah. And I'm hoping that this Mid-South Wrestling Mayhem podcast becomes just as successful, and I promise I will put all my heart and soul and energy that I do with my other podcast into this one. And, I just intend on having fun. We're going to talk results, things of that nature from previous weekends or whatever. We're going to do news, and hopefully everything goes together well. Interviews with some of your favorite Mid-South performers and things of that nature. So I'm truly excited about this. This is something I've been wanting to do a wrestling podcast for a long time, but I just didn't know quite where I was going to go with it, and I just decided to take the ball and run with this. Got to give a big shout out to a Mid-South a Mid-South Wrestling Mayhem supporter. Believe it or not, folks, Norman Meklikoff, of all people, he's a real jerk, but he's the one that pushed me to it, and, big shout out, big thanks to him for getting this done with me. Let's get right into it, shall we? This weekend's event that I went to, and, by the way, I also got news from ASWF results in Tuckerman, Arkansas as well. But last night, or Saturday night, where did I go? Millington, Tennessee, hosted Poker Face Mayhem 4. What a great event, Quentin. You definitely hit a lot of high marks on this event. It was just nonstop action and entertainment. And first and foremost, before I get into any of the results or anything, the one thing that surprised me, I've gone to a lot of live events. I've been to a lot of TCW shows, total classic wrestling, and I've been to MACW shows and things of that, I've been to a lot of local shows as far as in the Mid-South goes, and never have I seen the accessibility that the performers had towards the fans last night as I have at many of the house shows I've done. Now, I say that like TCW has had, that don't mind me, that's just my phone. TCW had the accessibility to performers, but you had to pay extra for it. You usually have to buy an MVP ticket or VIP. I don't know why I said MVP. A VIP ticket or something like that for the meet and greets and everything else in the whole nine. Such wasn't the case at Mayhem 4, and you could tell Poker Face definitely loves loves giving back to the community, as his site says. Just a fantastic job, really, honestly and truly, just a fantastic job last night. So let's get into it, shall we? Our first match out of the gate featured Norman Metcalf versus Brandon Barber, who come out as Apollo Creed. It was a nice touch, Brandon. I really did dig that. I really think that should be your thing from now on. But Norman clearly, and if you guys know Brandon Barber like you do, Norman clearly had the size advantage over Brandon. He got rocked a few times. Brandon's, got that quickness and that speed, and that prowess, that cat-like prowess that he has occasionally. And he rocked him a couple times, a couple kicks, a couple drop kicks, but at the end of the day, when you put a guy like Barber against a guy like Metcalf, the results are going to be as lopsided as they were. Norman Metcalf took that win handily. Our second match featured Siler, who on a personal note, Siler, I love you. I think you're awesome, but she reminds me of a female Cobra Kai student from the Karate Kid. Against an opponent now, okay, I didn't catch her name, but she's dressed in a punk rock schoolgirl outfit. And they really had a solid, put together match. Siler hit her finisher kick, and she is lethal, man. I mean, she's got, I don't know what her pedigree is as far as her martial arts goes, but she's got some skills. And that's not to take nothing away from her opponent. I mean, her opponent had skills enough to where Siler was getting beat down pretty good, until Big Bubba came in, and he was going to put the hurt on Siler's opponent, and he came in and entered the ring, and all of a sudden, out hits Poker Face's music. Poker Face came out, stole a chair out from behind me in the crowd, jumped in the ring, and he was going to take it to Bubba, which he probably should have, because he had the advantage for most of the match. Them two got in the ring, and then, the match, the bell rang, and it was on from there, as they say. And, like I said, it was solidly Bubba's night, so to speak. Poker Face hit a sloppy but effective DDT, though, which turned the tides, and then Poker hits him with a fury of punches. He hits his finisher 1, 2, 3, and Schoolgirl's image is maintained. I give that match a solid 4 or 5 stars. That's right. I'm going to be rating matches. If I'm there and I'm watching them, or if I just happen to see a video of them, yeah, that's what this MidSouth Wrestling Mayhem is all about. We're about giving stars. So I give the Big Bubba Poker Face match 4 out of 5 stars. Next contestant featured Danny Dar versus Bob Thunder, I believe is what his name was. The PA was a little overmodulated for the environment, the gym environment that it was, so I couldn't catch his name for sure. Bob is definitely his name for sure. Bob is a bit of an ass, to be quite frank. His overall moveset is definitely heel tactics, from rubbing Dar's face against the rope to choking Dar with Bob's wrist tape. Dar tried to turn things around quite a couple times, and Bob would just go back to doing Bob bad guy things, and next thing you know, Bob was dominating again. However, with Bob dominating Danny Dar, Then he somehow managed a bulldog off the top rope and got the pin. Match was over 1, 2, 3. I give that match 3 out of 5. The tag team match, which was one of my absolute favorites. All right, so here's the thing. If you take MVC, Miracle Violence Corporation, and you put them in the ring with the LA Hustlers, it's going to be gold. I mean, you can't say enough about both teams. Bradley and Roughshot. I'm sorry, my memory kind of stinks as far as name goes. I've seen him a ton of times, but I just got so much going on upstairs and not enough at the same time. But yeah, Bradley and Roughshot definitely got great in-ring chemistry together as a team, and then you mix them up with, the likes of MVC, Big Vic, and Idol Bane, and forget it. You're just looking at magic. And again, last night was a solid match. I like both teams a lot personally. I know I'm not supposed to have favorites doing this podcast, but I do really dig both teams a lot. And like they just put on some great performances every time they get together. And they personify LA Hustlers. They personify that big man, small man tandem. And no matter what they are, good guys, bad guys in between, they're just over with the crowds. Either you like them or you just really, really want to hate them. So they're definitely doing something right. MVC, they're just two big, solid dudes. Big Vic, Idol Bane, our Big Vic scares the hell out of me. Even with the blue beard. I might have deserved to get yelled at, though. I egged on a few loser chants, which had Vic telling me don't start that crap. And the four of them, when they get when you put them together, it's just gold. I don't care who you are as a promoter. You get LA Hustlers and MVC together, and you're just killing it. You're making money. So anyway, Pillar to Post, solid, great match. Didn't disappoint. MVC got the pin against the Hustlers with, help from their manager, hitting Roughshot in the head with the cane and, things of that nature. But it was a great match, and like I said, didn't disappoint. 5 of 5 stars, and not because I instigated Big Vic either. I mean, it was, them two are just gold in the ring. They really are. Our next match featured Joseph Bourne, who, come to later find out, is a rookie there at Poker Face, and he's actually one of Poker Face's students, from my understanding. But he came down in the ring and he did some whining about being the best in the biz. He wasn't on the Mayhem 4 poster, and he issued an open challenge. Dennis Judas answered it to Bourne's dismay. Now, Joseph definitely had yellow fever, playing stall games with the ref, and ref rings the bell just to get the match underway, and Judas, holy crap, he reminded me of a shorter David Batista. He really did. I mean, he's just a solid built dude, and he just was putting on a suplex clinic in the first openings of the match. Bourne was running like a scalded dog, and Judas finally got a hold of him and pretty much was suplexing his spine, suplexing him until his spine was dust. I mean, T-bones, belly to bellies, Germans. Yeah, like I said, a suplex clinic was put on it. Bourne at this point is more than likely regretting this open challenge right after. He probably today still. He's probably got ice packs from his neck down to his tailbone because he tossed him like a rag doll. But yeah, he seemed to regret that open challenge. Bourne at one point got the referee's attention away from him. Hits Judas with a low blow and a modified diamond cutter. But not that I'm one to talk, but judging by his physique, he probably should work on some of that DDP yoga as well. Joseph Bourne wins. Celebrate cut short by Poker Face, who came out again. Congratulates Bourne on his rookie victory. And Judas, who even though he lost, apparently he's on the bigger and better things in my old stomping grounds of New Jersey. So look for him. I'm sure you're going to see big things out of that guy. 4 out of 5 stars. Lots of big impact moves. Kept that match really exciting. Really exciting. We're going to take a break. No, let's talk about the pre-main event. We're going to talk pre-main event. Then we're going to talk. Yeah, we'll talk pre-main event and we'll take a break real quick. Our pre-main event match featured 2.0 Demarius Jones, who comes out and pretty much cuts a promo against the entire crowd, which you don't do. That's just a dumb move. Then out comes Action Jackson, my boy, Action. He just never disappoints as well. And who doesn't love him, right? 2.0 tries to sneak attack Action, but Action quickly retaliates and gains the advantage. 2.0 received a dropkick, hit the floor. Jones kind of recovers a little bit after a few minutes and comes into the ring and starts giving an Action run for his money, but Jackson is having none of it. He throws Jones to the floor again and then gets huge air as he jumps over the top rope into a moonsault. Pretty much Action using himself as a bomb and just dropped it all over the island of Demarius Jones. Action Jackson brings the Action back into the ring. He throws Demarius Jones back into the ring, and Action just starts his this onslaught, for lack of a better term, on Demarius Jones, just flying all around the ring. Splashes in the corner and clotheslines and things of that nature, but 2.0 countered the cat-like assault from Jackson and quickly retained the control of the match. Now, Jackson and Jones are about the same size. If you haven't seen these guys, they got the same wrestling style as each other, and it's almost like, how would I describe it? It's almost like Bizarro Superman versus Superman, just going at it. The one flaw, and this is just my opinion, had it not been for 2.0's constant showboating, he would have had that match. You can tell they both had done their respective homeworks against each other, because they had to counter for one another's moves every chance they got, including a hellacious collision when they clotheslined each other. But Action got the edge, hit his finisher, the neck breaker off the top rope, got the W, 5 of 5 stars. They told a story in that ring, and although I purchased a ticket for the whole seat, I only needed the edge. Okay, I can't believe that was bad. Why would I even say anything like that? That was horrible. That was almost like one of them monster truck promos, you know. Buy the whole seat, but you only need the edge. But it was a great, great bout. I mean, it didn't disappoint at all. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to talk the main event. And then we're going to go to our Wrestling News Center, talk some ASWF results in Tuckerman, Arkansas as well. It's the MidSouth Wrestling Mayhem Podcast.
have you been missing on the Peter Van Show podcast?
Here's some of the other fine club mixes that we had. Oh, yeah. Turn it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at Club Douchebag, remember, always have a good time. Tip your servers, don't flirt with the girls too much. Have a good time, party people! Ladies and gentlemen, at Club Ice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah! Party people! It's DJ Peter Van in the house. Don't forget 2 for 5 shots, 2 for 5.
I cannot believe I used to listen to this shit. And my Z Cavaricci pants, my skinny leather belt, my loafers, and my silk shirt. Oh, I was such a douche. Now when I see these guys, I want to punch them in the face. I hated the man I used to be.
That's the Peter Van Show. Catch it here on podbean.com, iTunes, or on Stitcher. Want to contact the show? You can find us on Twitter at MSW Mayhem or email us midsouthwrestling@gmail.com.
It's MidSouth Wrestling Mayhem. I am your host, Peter Van. Welcome back. Part 2, we're discussing Mayhem 4. Poker Faces Mayhem 4. This is episode 1 of the podcast. I hope you like what you're hearing so far. Real quick, catch us on Twitter if you want to tweet. If you tweet. Not a lot of people tweet, I've noticed. Well, not a lot of people who are in the South tweet. But catch us on Twitter, MSW Mayhem, at MSW Mayhem. At me, bro. Come on. At me. Also, you can email the show, midsouthwrestlingmayhem@gmail.com. I'm just trying to eat during this podcast. I don't know why. So we're going back to the main event at Mayhem 4, Poker Faces event. Like I said, tremendous event. Our main event featured 2 guys that I had not seen in a long time, and boy, did I feel younger immediately already. I gotta do this right. Hang on. Yeah. It's the Mac Militant, Rodney Mac, the dog. Who? My God. I'll get into that in a second. So yeah, Rodney Mac. Yes, this Rodney Mac. From WWE fame, old school guy. What a monster he was. What a monster he still is. Dude is huge. Here's the worst part about it, and I feel awful. I really do. I hadn't seen him in... Alright, we're going to turn that down before he beats me up. I hadn't seen him in many, many years. And I was going to the bathroom during one of the intermission breaks, and he was outside. And like I said, I seen the dude, and I even recognize him, and I feel awful about it. And I saw he was wearing his Back to Mac t-shirt, and man, am I kicking myself in the butt, because I probably could have had a few words with him, recorded it, and had a nice, decent, like maybe 2 or 3 minute interview going on, and I totally blew my opportunity. But you know, that's how these things go. So anyway, he was managed by Teddy Long, and I believe he was managed before Teddy Long became GM, if I'm not mistaken. But apparently Rodney's been running rampant all over the indie circuit, and good for him, I might add. I mean, he definitely is quite the talent. And he came out. This dude came out. Rodney Mack came out. I'm like stunned. He came out with more gold than Fort Knox. I'm going to post, you know what? I'm going to post a picture to Twitter because I have it of how many title belts this man had. Anyway, I believe his intro announcement had said that he held over 12 individual titles right now, and he is the number one contender for the NWA Championship. So the bell rings, and Alan Steele, who I last saw, I've been out of the Alan Steele loop. I'm sorry. Well, let me go look at my poster over here. Hang on. February 9th, 2013 was the last time I saw Alan Steele in action. Traditional championship wrestling. That's the night that Jake the Snake broke my heart. I'll have to get into that story after I discuss Alan Steele's match and before. Yeah, that's the way this podcast rolls. We just kind of just go with it. But yeah, I haven't seen him, well, what's that, 4 years? 4 years. So, and that was the Jonesboro Jam, actually, is what the event was. So anyway, Alan jumps out and tries to get a dirty advantage while Mac's got his back turned. Mac was having none of it. I was impressed by these two because you see a lot of older guys on the indie circuits. I'm not saying that Alan Steele is older, but, 4 years definitely takes a toll on your body after a while. But Mac, I'm really impressed with because you see a lot of the guys who've made it to the top level of major organizations, WCW and WWE and stuff like that. You see them coming back to the indie guys, and they just, not that they've given up, but they just don't care as much because now it's just about making money for appearances. And yeah, whatever, I'll wrestle this 10-minute match and that's it. But you can tell that Max still has a drive and a passion for the business because, I mean, he's still a big dude. He's still built, and, Alan Steele, like he's another one, who hasn't let himself go, who you can tell he's been hitting the gym lately too as well. But Rodney Mack impressed me because for not seeing him for the amount of time I've saw, and I really want to say it's like 10, 15 years since I've seen him. He hadn't lost a step or missed anything. Hats off to the both of them, really, honestly. That just goes to show you guys out there, you just got to work your tails off. I mean, they're just really two impressive dudes. Solid match for both competitors. A lot of back and forth. Allen tried hitting Mac with one of his belts at one time when the referee was distracted. Or he did hit him. But Mac was able to get up and kick out. But Alan Steele is such a baddie. I mean, there ain't nothing that guy won't do to win. The Steele back Mac into a corner, and out comes Big Vic, Idol Bane, and their manager. That's right, MVC made a reappearance again. Big Vic threw powder in Mac's face. Alan Steele gets the roll up pin for the victory. MVC and Alan Steele proceed to start beating Mac down. After the pin. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead of my notes. So Alan Steele gets the roll up pin. Bell rings. Alan Steele wins. MVC and Alan Steele grab Rodney Mack and just start pummeling on him. Well, out comes the Hustlers to make the save. Hustlers and Mack stand tall. Event's over. Good night. And that was a solid 5-of-5 match. I mean, that was great match, great ending, great booking. The whole event I give 4 or 5 stars. it was just an all-around great performance. The drive home, I give a minus 5 stars out of 5 stars. The drive home was horrendous. We had some hellacious weather in the area, and I had an hour and a half drive back to Jonesboro, and it was bad. It was really, really bad. My Jake the Snake story real quick before I get on to some ASWF, and friends of mine like this story because I still tell it with bitterness and anger and disgust. But I'm not bitter. I want you just to know this right now. I am not a bitter person. So February 9th, 2013, I go to, be quite honest with you, my first indie show. I grew up in New Jersey and hung out in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, and went to a lot of WWE shows because, that's where their mainstay is, and they always had shows going on. So I went to a lot of WWE shows up there. Not so much the independent stuff because, if you got, in your 20s, that stuff kind of does, you're just WWE, and, you just watch all the big stuff. You don't really care about the smaller stuff. Which I regret because I'm sure there was a lot of cool indie stuff going on in New Jersey at the time. So Traditional Championship Wrestling, TCW, Matt Riviera was the quote-unquote bankroller of the company, and he hung out with Golden Boy, Greg Anthony, and that was the storyline, and that's what was going on at TCW at the time. They're coming to Jonesboro, brand new fairgrounds. Jake the Snake Roberts, my boyhood hero, was supposed to be there. And the rest of this I've gotten from watching the resurrection of Jake the Snake and things of that nature. They never mentioned the show by name in the resurrection of Jake the Snake, but I know exactly what show it was. It was the Jonesboro Jam. He was supposed to show up. So I was all excited. I was all in because I said, cool, Jake the Snake is coming. He's my, I was 10 years old and watching Jake the Snake Roberts, and he's going to be here in Jonesboro. I'm going to get his autograph, shake his hand, and be in awe and act all awkward like I normally do when I meet big stars. I don't know why. It's just, I don't know. I get very starstruck very easily. So I get my VIP tickets. Me and my nephew go and had a great time at the show. Tim Storm threw some dude over the ring, and I had front row seats, and he ended up in my lap, and it was an awesome time. The security barrier smashed my knees, and I could barely walk out of there. But it was a grand time because I got to meet Hurricane Shane Helms, who was another big star who I liked. And, I thought was pretty cool. Beautiful Bobby Eaton, who, oh my God, he was another one, the Midnight Express, really. How do you not like the Midnight Express? You can't be in your 40s and not know who the Midnight Express are, nonetheless watch them. But beautiful Bobby Eaton was there, and I was kind of stoked about that. I thought that was really, really, really cool. But no Jake the Snake at the meet and greet. I got, who's this? Michael Barry. I got Michael Barry's autograph on my wall. Tim Storm's behind me somewhere on my wall. Hurricane's over to my right. And Jimmy Hart. I got Bobby Eaton is on my wall twice. He signed my Jonesboro Jam poster and gave me a personal autograph as well. No Jake the Snake. Brokenhearted. At the time, I am a 37-year-old brokenhearted man. So, I was quite upset by this, because I later found out, when I watched the resurrection Well, I later found out through the dirt sheets a couple days later that he had just went on his bender and ended up in rehab a day after or 2 days after the Jonesboro Jam show because he no-showed the Jonesboro Jam TCW show, and because he no-showed, that's when DDP got on his ass, and 2 days later he ended up in alcohol rehab, and then obviously he took him back to his house and did the DDP yoga thing and got him back on track. Kudos to him. I mean, that's pretty cool, and I can appreciate the awesomeness behind that, but I still didn't get my damn Jake the Snake Roberts autographed. Not that I'm bitter, but really, you chose to get drunk rather than see me and sign an autograph for me. Thanks, Jake the Snake. But anyway, yeah, that's my Jake the Snake story. Never signed my autograph. Chose to be in the bottom of a bottle. I wonder if he got drunk in Arkansas. No, he was too drunk to get on the plane. If I remember the story correctly, I think he was too drunk to get on the plane, and that's the whole reason he no-showed, because he wasn't, especially now, you're not allowed to do a lot before you pre-board, and being hammered obnoxiously out of your mind is not one of them. Apparently being Asian and wearing glasses isn't one too, but that's another podcast for another time. Man, should have just gave up his seat. But anyway, I'm not bitter over the fact that I don't have a Jake the Snake autograph. I'm not upset at all. Oh, trust me, if he ever comes to an indie show in the Mid-South, the poster is the first thing that's coming with me, and a Sharpie. That man will sign my poster, by God, and he will personalize it. Why? Because he owes me one. Not that I'm bitter. So anyway, yeah, that's my Jake the Snake story. My missed opportunity with Jake the Snake. And the reason I say I'm awkward around big guys and stars that I once knew and watched on TV, I'm so starstruck. It took me 25 minutes to muster up the courage to ask Jimmy Hart for his autograph here at one of the downtown barbecue festivals. 20 minutes. Do I just go over there? What do? I don't mark out and lose my mind. I actually have quite the equal and opposite reaction, which is I just kind of just go into my shell and just feel really weird about, I don't know. It's like I have this fear of them saying no, and just, just not doing what I ask. Oh, yeah, I'll just carry on and talk about me. Let's get into some ASWF results. First match featured Lee Michaels against Reggie Montgomery for his ASWF championship. Apparently, well, I shouldn't say apparently, it's written right here. Lee Michaels wins via DQ against Reggie Montgomery to retain his ASWF championship due to interference from Josh Cross. Good job, Josh. Way to just put yourself in a situation you don't belong. Ray Wheel was victorious against Gaston Stallion, CJ Jenkins, Max Stone, and Key Austin to become the new ASWF Arkansas State Champion. Oh, looked like a 5-way, a fatal 5-way match. I have a thing about those. I don't like them. I mean, triple threat is about the biggest I'll go, or I'll see, and have interest in. But when you get 5 guys fighting all at once, it's hard to keep track of the action. The Mania were victorious over the New Outlaws to become new number 1 contenders for Lethal Injection's ASWF Tag Team Championship. Wow. That's pretty interesting. The Mania is pretty good. I like them a lot, too. they are a force to be reckoned with. I don't know how Lethal Injection just made. I like Pryor and Brad Mercury. I think they're cool dudes, but they just find ways to win, and I don't know how they do it. It just always just leaves me in awe. It really does. Austin Lane beats Dirty Little Dave via disqualification to retain his ASWF Evolution Championship due to interference from the Dirty Little Gang. Shocker of shockers. Wait, this is my shocked voice. Dirty Little Dave. Dirty Little... almost made it really dirty. No, it wasn't the one about the male member. It was the feminine hygiene product. I don't like him. I mean, he just never wins. I mean, obviously his name is Dirty Little Dave and he's doing his job, and I understand that and I get that. But, dude, win a match clean for once. You know what? You looked pretty good in pink against the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Lee Michaels retained his ASWF championship against Cody Only and Josh Cross in a triple threat match. Lee Michaels is pretty impressive dude as well. Let's go to a quick list of events coming up. The biggest one that I can see so far, this Friday, May 5th at 1130 Whitten Road, Cordova, Tennessee, MidSouth Elite Pro Wrestling is celebrating Cinco de Mayo with Diamond Inc. versus Steel Cage. That's going to be a pretty good match. What else we got coming up? Should have done a little more research on that one. That's a little awkward. Out of Control Wrestling, Hoxie. Don't forget to check them out. I think that's going to do it for me. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me. A few promoters out there got a show coming up. Email me. MidSouth Wrestling Mayhem at gmail.com. Or if you're on Twitter, at me bro. MSW Mayhem on Twitter. And if you guys, superstars, performers, wrestlers, whatever you want to call yourself, if you guys want to do an interview, email me. Same address, MidSouth Wrestling Mayhem at gmail.com or at me bro. MSW Mayhem on Twitter. Trust me, all this will start sounding more fluid once I get used to it. It's just weird. It's awkward not saying the Peter Van Show on Twitter or at Gmail. It's just weird. Only because it's a different show. Anyway, peace, love, chicken grease. I'm out of here for this week. Join me in a couple weeks for episode 2 of MidSouth Wrestling Mayhem. Remember, every day above ground, indeed, is a good day. Bye-bye now.